If you're illegally in the US has a right to deport you. And if your identity as an Indian is confirmed, then India has an obligation to accept you. It wasn't good to hear that they were brought back forcibly in a military plane and handcuffed and so on. That was quite unnecessary. If you want to do a mass deportation, do civilian charters. That would have been the more humane thing to do. They have no bad intentions. They're not criminals. They're not convicted of anything else. They're there to make a better life for themselves. If you're illegally in the US has a right to deport you. And if your identity as an Indian is confirmed, then India has an obligation to accept you. So in both cases, there really isn't very much debate. However, it wasn't good to hear that they were brought back forcibly in a military plane and handcuffed and so on. That was quite unnecessary. It should have been enough to either put them on a commercial aircraft or a civilian plane and send them back. You can, if you want to do a mass deportation, do civilian charters. That would have been the more humane thing to do. They may, strictly speaking, have broken your laws by coming into your country, but by and large, they have no bad intentions. They're not criminals. They're not convicted of anything else. They're there to make a better life for themselves, which they have done by violating your laws. So you can send them out, no problem. But handcuffing them and putting them in a military aircraft and sending them in this way, I think India should say that this is not entirely advisable.
Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs, you are heading that, and is there a response from MEA to the panel that they are working on a law for safe immigration? Your thoughts regarding that, and is that true?
First of all, what goes on in the committee is not supposed to be discussed publicly, but I should say that the question of an immigration bill has been public knowledge for several years. When I chaired the committee from 2014 to 19, I had asked for an immigration bill because the existing immigration bill in India is 1983 and it's grossly out of date. It has not done anything to take into account the realities of immigration in the last 40 years. And therefore, an updated bill was necessary. It needs to take into account the various challenges that have arisen in recent years that we have seen. Deportations of illegal migrants is only one part of it, but safe and orderly and legal migration, migration of guest workers with a right to come back, migration of people for permanent settlement, migration of those going, for example, to countries like the Gulf where they're taken in bulk by contract laborers. What are their rights? What are the privileges? What are the duties of the embassies in all these places? There are a number of issues. It's not a small matter. And the government has been promising us a bill since 2015 or 16, when Sushma ji had written to me confirming that they were working on a bill. It is now almost 9 years and there is still no bill in sight. So it is widely known that the committee and members of the committee have been demanding that this be expedited. They have promised that within a fairly short period of time, there will be a bill that will be presented for public consultations after interministerial consultation. And I have urged that we should all be taken into confidence on how this is being discussed. But it's not specifically linked to the current problem of deportation alone. It's an old issue.
Some of the leaders have said that the Indian military plane were handcuffed. Do you have any confirmation regarding that?
Well, people say they've seen pictures. I personally have not. I had a busy day yesterday. I didn't see any of the footage. But if it is true, and I've certainly read interviews with a couple of people who claim they were handcuffed, then it is really unacceptable. There is no need to treat Indians like this. They are citizens. They have a right to be living in their own country with dignity. Yes, they should not have broken the law. But handcuffing them on the way back, I think, is totally unnecessary. And this kind of thing, to be honest, is what gives, I think, the whole process of deportation such a bad name. Some Latin American countries are very, very clear they will not accept military aircraft and they will not accept handcuffing. And India should, I think, take a similar stand.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.